we've been talking about the struggle in Texas to redraw their maps and how they're trying to force out at least 5 Democratic members of the House of Representatives to make it so that they control an even bigger piece of the pie in Texas. And now this could backfire. We've talked about that. But in response to the efforts, Texas Democrats have left the state. They are now in Illinois, I believe, and said they're going to wait out the 2 weeks that this special session that was drawn up just to look at these maps and vote on this is over, basically saying you can't even hold a vote, it's done. Well, Governor Greg Abbott and Attorney General Ken Paxton do not like this. Ken Paxton, I believe, has threatened to arrest them or put out arrest warrants for them, which I'm not even sure if that's legal. And Greg Abbott has said, well, if they don't show up by 3 p.m. today, they're going to be considered derelict in their duties, and they're going to be viewed as forfeiting their seat. Now, I've never heard of a state having that kind of a thing in the clause where the governor can just say, you have till this time and this date to show up, or you're out. And a couple states, like Oregon, I believe, has a clause, if you miss so many unexcused days in a term, you are ineligible to be reelected the following term. But Texas doesn't have that. This is Greg Abbott just making something up and saying, well, this is what we're going to do. Now, he bases it on something that Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, had said previously that might be able to be done. But Ken Paxton hedged his bet when he made that declaration by saying, well, this would have to be tested in a court. And that's ultimately where this would end up if they try to force all the Democrats in the Texas legislature out and say, well, your seats are considered vacant at this point. They would get sued. It would go to court, and it'd be a whole mess, and it would take a while to get resolved. Now, ultimately, even if they succeed at re-gerrymandering the state and making it even more Republican-favored, these maps are going to get sued over. They're going to be held up in court. But we don't know if they're going to be tied up in time for the midterms. So there's a lot going on with this attempt. And other states have said, well, Texas, if you do it, we're going to look at our maps. There could be as many as 13 states now that, for one reason or another, have to redraw their districts before the midterms. And there could be a lot of districts in play, a lot of seats in play. It's far from over. But if Republicans had good policy, they wouldn't have to redraw the maps to force their candidates to win. They would win on policy, but they don't have that. They have to cheat to win because they knew if it was policy only, they would never win.